I'm sure by now everybody has heard of the coronavirus or COVID-19. It's affecting every American right now and the world as a whole. It's a pretty serious situation going on right now, and I just wanted to take some time to let everybody see how it affects even just one person on a day to day basis.
What are your thoughts about everything going on?
Right now, things are getting a little crazy. I'm currently not working. My daughter's not going to school. We're pretty much on lockdown and not leaving the house right now so that we can keep our family safe from, the hazards that this could bring to both my wife and daughter, who are very highly susceptible to having complications if I were to bring it home.
What are your thoughts about everything going on?
My thoughts about everything going on right now because of the coronavirus. Things are getting a little crazy, it seems like. You know, I don't want to panic, but I do want to stay hyper vigilant that I'm aware of everything that's going on so that we can be prepared for things that are happening now and what could happen in the future.
Your thoughts about everything going on?
My thoughts right now, things are kind of crazy. Never expected to be out of work or my daughter not being able to go to school or even just go around the corner to the convenience store. It's getting really worrisome, but just trying to stay positive and make sure that I stay up to date on everything that's going on.
You mentioned being out of work. How has the coronavirus affected your work?
So how the coronavirus has affected my work is, I work for ADT as a security advisor, and I go into 2 to 3 homes every day doing installation and service appointments. And I didn't want to bring anything home potentially to my wife or daughter, who are both at a high risk of having complications if I were to bring, the coronavirus home. So I had to make that decision to kind of take a step back from work right now. Uh, so that way that you know we don't get people sick either going to and from houses.
What are some things that before you took time off, your work implemented to be able to keep not only their customers safe but their employees safe?
They definitely started practicing social distancing right away. Just educating each technician on, not shaking hands, making sure we wash our hands a lot, use hand sanitizer, um, and some of the other things that we stopped doing is having morning meetings and being in groups more than 10 people. So that way we weren't transmitting within the office to other technicians and then back to our customers. Customer and employee safety was, you know, one of the most important things that we first started doing. And some other things that we wanted to make sure we did was uh, washing down equipment that we were taking in and out of homes, disinfecting things, just being very hyper vigilant that we weren't making the situation any worse than it needed to be.
How has it affected your schooling?
Well, that's a really important question because right now I was actually supposed to be doing a documentary on construction workers who work on our roadsides to keep our roads and highways clear. But companies are being shut down, workers are being told to stay home, people are doing the right thing by practicing social distancing and isolation. So that kind of put a nix in the whole operation I had planned out. But fortunately enough for me, I am going to school online, so uh, I just have to adjust fire and make sure that I can keep on keeping my studies moving forward.
What are some of the things that your state has implemented? You've previously mentioned that workers are having to stay home and businesses are basically not having their employees go out. What are some of the things that the state has implemented to help protect its citizens?
Some things they are doing is just like, yeah, I mentioned, making sure that any non-essential businesses are not in operation right now. So, we're only seeing, like fire departments, police, ambulance, hospitals, pharmacies, grocery stores. Only the essentials are being able to operate right now. Everybody else has been asked to social isolate. They're also making sure that things like the schools have been shut down, bowling alleys, malls, anywhere people would gather, parks, recreational type things like that. Because some people weren't taking it serious, and so they've had to even implement in just South Carolina, which is only like 30 minutes from where I am, no groups larger than 3 people.
That seems like a extensive amount of things that they've done to keep its citizens protected. What are some things that your daily life has changed because of all the influence and all the things that they've done to try to protect everyone?
Well, I would say first and foremost, not going to work every day. That's a huge change. I work 10 to 15 hours a day normally, so now I'm stuck at home, making sure I can protect my family. Um, not able to go out to just run to the store, grab a gallon of milk isn't as easy anymore. But we're trying to make sure that we stay home, stay safe. But having a lot of good family time as well. Getting to see my wife and daughter a lot more, so there's a plus side to everything.
How have you adapted to not being able to go out to simple things like bowling and movies and things like that? What have you done to adapt to that change and the aspect of having to stay home?
How I've adapted, I don't know. Just very adaptable. So some of the things we're doing are we're making sure we stay active and fit as a family, trying to do things around the house, inside the house to stay active, trying to play board games, do crafts or have a family movie night. I will definitely say that I've had a lot more time to sharpen my Call of Duty skills.
Why is it so important for you to implement these changes and take the necessary precautions?
I think it's necessary for me to take these precautions personally so that I don't, put my wife and daughter into harm's way. But I'm also being socially responsible that as a person who goes into multiple homes a day, that I'm not taking this and possibly transmitting it to somebody else who could also, get sick and severely injured from this.
Why do you think it's so important for other people to listen to the CDC guidelines and listen to their state officials?
I think it's very important for everybody to take this serious and to do their part, to stop going out and gathering together, because if we don't come together and try to socially distance ourselves for this to kind of die down, we're just going to be part of the problem instead of part of the solution.
What are some of the problems that could arise should people not social distance and stay home and listen to their elected officials?
I mean, some issues is this could get worse. I mean, right now we're just in the beginning stages. Hospitals could be, overwhelmed with the amount of patients, and we're already trying to prepare for that. But yeah, things could get much worse. A lot more people could get sick, and we don't want that. So we gotta do our part to stop the transmission.
What advice would you give others in states that may not have as strict stipulations yet, but are on their way to implementing them?
I would say that they definitely need to listen to their elected officials. They know best. These guidelines were put in place for a reason. They're seeing what's happening overseas. They don't want it to happen here. So everybody's got to do their part to be a part of the solution, like I said, not a part of the problem. There's a lot of individuals like my family who have weakened immune systems. There's the elderly. There's people with underlying medical conditions that could be really severely affected by this if we don't really try to stop this before it gets any worse.
What advice would you give someone who's just starting to stay home?
Some advice I would give people just starting to stay home, if they haven't already yet, is just that: stay home. But make sure that you're staying physically active inside the house or outside the house, you know, whether it's just on your porch or in the backyard, getting some fresh air. It's important to stay active both physically and mentally. You know, try to play some games or, you know, watch some movies with the family, have movie nights and family board game nights, things like that. Or if you're single and you're in your home alone, you know, don't forget to reach out to friends, do some teleconferencing, you know, maybe learn how to cook something new. But also, you know, one thing you don't want to do is drive yourself crazy with trying to um, find out everything that's going on around you. Make sure you're getting the information from credible sources like the CDC and the WHO, but don't obsess over it. Just keep yourself informed on what the current events are.
What is something positive you've gotten out of this, and what's your hope for the future?
Something positive I've got out of this is all the, you know, quality family time at home that I'm not usually afforded because of my job. You know, it's great to see my family, to spend more time with them. You know, because of my daughter's schooling right now being all home based, I can be more involved with that and helping her transition to this whole new lifestyle that we've all kind of been thrown into overnight. And looking to the future, the one thing that I can see positive coming out of all this is just the difference that community has made and how people are coming together. And I hope seeing that in the future, you know, that's one thing that we can all take from this, that, you know, maybe this is just needs to be like a wake up call that, you know, we do need more of that community atmosphere in the world.
I just talked to your daddy and talked to him about a lot of things that have been different for the past couple weeks. So I figured I'd ask you a couple questions too. How has school been different for you?
School has been different because instead of going to school, we go on e-learning and do a bunch of websites that help us learn.
What are some different ways you've been able to see your teacher, your friends, and family?
Some of the different ways that I can see my teacher and my friends and my family is we go on Zoom and this thing called Zoom, and I'm able to see my teacher and all my friends.
What are some fun things that you and your family have done instead of going out?
Some of the fun things me and my family have done is like drawn with chalk, and we've done board game nights, and we've also done family movie nights.
What are some fun things your neighborhood has done to make social distancing fun without having to meet up?
Some fun things our neighborhood has done are people have drawn chalk on their driveways with inspirational messages, and people have hung up shamrocks on their windows, and we've walked around and counted all of them.